The very first opioid I ever used was actually diverted hydromorphone. So not a new issue. This was over 25 years ago. It is a concern that's still obviously with us today. I recently came across this article from the Canadian Press about the death of a 15-year-old in BC. His death was believed to involve a mix of hydromorphone and cough syrup. While the combination of these two depressants is obviously really risky, they both slow your breathing down. I was particularly grateful for the tone and the nuance of this rather heartbreaking article. It did not speculate, it did not sensationalize, it didn't further stigmatize people who use drugs, it did not make it all about addiction, and most importantly, it didn't assume or even suggest that the hydromorphone came from diverted, safer supply. Actually, with compassion, the article states, this is the type of tragedy that can affect all people from all walks of life, sometimes through addiction and sometimes through experimentation. And that really matters. This crisis around us of people dying from using drugs is not only about addiction. It is not only about long-term substance use or just the visible component of substance use that we can see when we drive around our towns. It is also about young people and our neighbors and the people in our suburb. I think if more reporting on drug issues were done like this, more careful, more balanced, it will shift the culture over time. Like I said, the very first opioid that I ever used was diverted hydromorphone that came from a patient who legitimately needed it, had serious pain, required opioids, but they were massively overprescribed. And that in itself is another complex problem. So knowing this really, it helps us recognize the challenges we face in our communities around safer supply and diversion, maybe more complex than we often acknowledge. Diversion, or what some might call repurposing, does happen. It always has, but a moral panic around it often overshadows root issues, unregulated supply, the criminalization, and, a broad lack of support for people who use drugs. Another thing that I've been thinking about is how the term safer supply or safe supply has really been hijacked politically and isn't useful anymore. Conversations are really kind of over as soon as the term is mentioned, and I get that. People hear safe supply and assume we're saying drug use is safe and risk-free. Right now, I prefer the term prescribed alternatives, and for those of us who are advocating for evidence-based drug policy, thinking about how we continually shift our language when a term becomes polarizing is an ongoing task. So that's just part of being strategic and continuing to build bridges, which is what I really aim to do. So thanks. I am planning to make more videos like this, sharing my thoughts on drug policy, on substance use, on addiction and recovery. And if that interests you, please like and subscribe. And your curious and thoughtful comments are always welcome.